a prayer that went unanswered. She could barely force herself to leave her house some nights, let alone go to work at the wharf, her bar, and be so close to so many people. Knowing Marcus was out there and that he could walk in at any moment and finish what he'd started 2 years ago, well, it was a wonder she could leave her house at all. Maxine cut her a gaze that could have sliced titanium. Her mother, the housewife turned gangster. She'd managed to step up and take control of her life after Tom died. But not Evie. Evie had been all but forced into this crazy scheme by her less-than-sane grandpa. Maxine turned her attention to Brown. "Better to take orders from a woman than from a filthy pig." The sheriff tensed. His hand fell to the pistol in his snapped gun holster. "I guess you're looking to lose your hand." C.W. uncrossed his fingers and in one swift movement yanked his Colt .45 six-shooter from his hip holster and aimed it directly at Brown. "Maybe you should talk to Marcus about what happens to people who threaten my family." Evie jerked and clutched the table for support, fighting to keep a neutral expression, even though the mere mention of his name sent chills down her spine. The last time Marcus ran into her grandpa, he met the wrong end of a shotgun. He'd escaped without any personal injuries, but his Mercedes had acquired multiple bullet holes. Of course, gripping the table wasn't exactly normal behavior. She looked around, not taking a breath until she saw everyone's focus was on her gun-toting grandpa. Brown paled, his overly large Adam's apple bobbing in his long, skinny neck. His hand rose from his holster, empty and shaking. "If you don't do this, you know he'll make you regret it. Every last one of you." And she did know it. Marcus had already made her regret so much. He'd taken her innocence and used it like an addict used crack, destroying her before she'd realized the damage. "Speak. Open your mouth. Tell him to screw off." Dale's gaze cut to her, and the knowledge Evie saw in their depths caused her to quake. She wasn't strong enough to stand up to the sheriff. Why was she even here? Dale's upper lip raised in disgust. But instead of calling her out, he whipped around to face Brown. Before Evie could force her frozen lips to move, Dale pulled back and threw a meaty fist straight into the sheriff's face. The crack of knuckles on flesh boomed. Brown crumpled like a bicycle under a semi-truck. "No one threatens the MRG. Tell Marcus we'll be in touch after the vote." Dale didn't even shake out his fist. Evie, still immobilized, managed to nod at Dale. He didn't return the gesture, just grabbed Brown by the shirt and dragged him out of the room. Everyone at the table, all 10 members of the MRG, turned to look at Evie. She closed her eyes and gathered what little inner strength she possessed. What would her father say to them? No one in this room would have dared speak out against Tom Videl. But then again, poor little Evangeline would never be able to live up to the Videl family name. But she had to try. Wasn't that why she finally agreed to CW's idea to reinstate the MRG? It was her last-ditch attempt to recover the part of her spirit that hadn't been permanently crushed by Marcus. Evie lifted her chin and curled her fingers into her palms. "The MRG was founded on honor and justice. Justice from the exact men who just offered us a deal. Are you all so scared that you'd consider selling out at the first flash of cash?" CW gave her a wink and tucked his pistol back into its holster. Sherry, Evie's best friend and co-bartender at the wharf, nodded, reminding Evie she wasn't the only one in the room who'd been shit on by Marcus Caravan. "You realize you could have just kicked $100,000 out the door?" Lefty, their resident white trash greasehead, had probably needed to bite his tongue to keep silent for so long. If Evie were in complete control, she would have kicked him out long ago. But Lefty was Dale's best friend, and Dale was a founding member of the original MRG in the 70s. "You do realize he would have killed us once he was finished with us? Even you?" Maxine's long red nails clicked slowly, methodically on the tabletop, reminding Evie of a cat before it pounced on its prey.